Welcome back into CBS Sports HQ. It's been a busy couple of weeks, so if you didn't notice, here we are to put you on notice. The Phoenix Suns are inching toward the top of the West. In fact, they are second right now, 2.5 games behind the Jazz. The Suns, they have won 8 of their past 10. They're coming off a convincing win over the Lakers. Now, granted, there was not LeBron, but still, now they head out for a 4-game Eastern Conference road trip. So what is working well for the Suns right now? Well, Devin Booker on track for his 4th straight year, averaging more than 24 points per game. And as you can see right now, they also have one of the best defenses in the entire NBA. Let's welcome in former NBA champ Rip Hamilton to talk about the Suns. Also, we've got the NBA trade deadline looming. Rip, but let's start with the Suns. So they are just doing awesome right now. They're facing Miami tonight. Jay Crowder's old team. Give me a preview of this one.
Well, man, there should be a fun matchup. The Phoenix Suns is playing awesome basketball right now, and you got to give a lot of credit to Chris Paul. I mean, this guy has been leading this organization, this team, ever since he put on a Phoenix Suns jersey. And the one thing that I love about Chris Paul is he holds everybody on the floor accountable. So that means the coach, Monty Williams, don't have to yell or scream at anybody on the floor because Chris Paul will do that for him. And the relationship that he has with Devin Booker. I mean, Devin Booker has been playing at an all-time high, an all-star level player. He's taking better shots on the floor. Last year, I thought he shot a lot of contested shots, especially late in games. But now when you got a great floor general in Chris Paul, a guy that can find you on the floor and you don't have to do so much off the dribble because he'll make sure you'll get the ball in the sweet spot. So I just think he's been unbelievable for this Phoenix Suns team. But also the other guys. I think Jay Crowder has been a huge addition to this team from a defensive standpoint and a guy that can knock down threes. So this should be a fun matchup, knowing that Miami Heat didn't give Jay Crowder a long-term contract last season. So this should be a revenge game for him.
Absolutely. So let me ask you about the Suns in the West there. I mentioned they're just there behind the Jazz. The Jazz have just been on fire this entire season. So can they keep this up as we head to the playoffs?
I would say yes. And the reason, like I said before, is Chris Paul. This guy doesn't take his foot off the gas. When you're talking about the best leaders in basketball, there's 2 names that come up, LeBron James and Chris Paul. So he's not going to allow his team to take his foot off the gas. They're shooting the ball at a high clip from the 3-point line. Defensively, they're top 3. And when sometimes your shot doesn't fall, if you can do it on the other end, on the defensive end, that means you have a pretty good team and a pretty good chance of winning basketball games.
All right, let's move on. 2 MVP candidates squaring off tonight. James Harden leads the Nets without KD or Kyrie. They're taking on Dame Lillard in Portland. He has just been doing amazing there in Portland, but Harden's been doing the same thing. Who has impressed you more so far this season?
As much as my oldest son, Deuce, wants me to say Dame Lillard, I'm going with James Harden. And the reason why is coming into this season, Dame Lillard knew, okay, who was going to coach him this season. He knows the offense. He knows his teammates. But James Harden had no idea coming into this into this Brooklyn Nets locker room. New coaching staff, new teammates on the floor, got to learn the system on the fly, and he's playing the hardest position on the floor, and that's the point guard position. This guy's been probably, in my opinion, the most important player to this Brooklyn Nets roster. He's the guy that makes everything go. He's the guy that gets Kyrie Irving his shots. He's the guy that gets Kevin Durant his looks, and understand, and also he got to figure out when he can be aggressive on the offensive end to score his points. Averaging 25 points a game, 8 rebounds, 11 assists. This guy is doing it all. So I would have to say James Harden. He's their most consistent player on the team. The guy's played all 29 games since he's been with the Brooklyn Nets. So I'm gonna have to say James Harden.
At some point, we'll get you and your son on here and you can argue it out. Rip, the NBA trade deadline just 2 days away now. Give me a player or players that you would like to see moved.
I would have to go with the old vet, Kyle Lowry. Him being 34 years old, I think that when you look at the Toronto Raptors, them losing 8 games in a row, their ceiling is falling day by day. But I just think that for a guy like him, he needs to be on a team that needs a veteran leader, a guy that can put the ball in the basket, the guy that understands time and score, a guy that can be a coach out on the floor. I mean, he's hard-nosed. He has the grit to win close games. I just think that for him, he should be in a better situation where he gives a team that extra oomph to get him over the hump to win a world championship.
All right, so maybe this goes into my very next question. I'm not sure you'll answer it. A team you would like to see make a move before the deadline?
I would have to say the Philadelphia 76ers. And a guy that they need to go out and get is Kyle Lowry. And I say that because if you watch the Philadelphia 76ers play, especially in the playoffs, the game is slowed down. Teams bog down in the half-court offense and kind of make the game a scrappy game. Yes, in transition, they're good when Ben Simmons is coming downhill, and, it's hard to guard, especially with Embiid in the paint. But when it comes to the playoffs, the games are usually scored in the 80s or 90s. You need a guy that can take pressure off of Ben Simmons at the point guard position. Teams are going to lay off Ben Simmons, and most likely Doc Rivers will move him to the 3 or the 4 position. If you're going to do that, you got to have a reliable point guard. And I think Kyle Lowry is the guy. He's the guy that, brings stability to that team. He understands how to win. And I think that guys will pay attention and know that he's a great leader on the floor and will allow him to lead and take over that offense.
Rip, thanks so much for joining us. Give a shout out to your son. I mean, Dame Lillard, he's putting up 50. This is ridiculous. I may be on your son's side here. Richard Hamilton, thanks so much again. Taking a look at the slate of NBA games tonight. Of course, we get the Lakers. Still no LeBron going up against the Pelicans. So the Pelicans are the favorite there. Wizards, Knicks, Suns, Heat. We told you about that one. Possibly a revenge game for Jay Crowder.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.